Well, today's the day the state started collecting a 4% sales tax on clothing and shoe purchases that cost less than $110. It's supposed to bring in another $330 million for New York State between now and the end of the year. Now, our fact finders found out today that baby bibs, belts, sporting goods, tuxedos, and anything else that can be worn is considered to be clothing and footwear, and therefore would also have this tax imposed. That also means diapers. Now, before today, these items were only taxed based on the county tax. It is official that Rahm Emanuel is out as White House Chief of Staff. President Obama formally announcing the departure this morning, praising Emanuel as extraordinarily well qualified for his new challenge, a run for the mayor of Chicago. Emanuel stood next to the president at today's announcement. Emanuel's replacement, at least for the interim, is Obama's senior advisor, Pete Rouse, who also stood at the president's side at the East Room today. Chief Justice John Roberts officially welcomes Elena Kagan as an Associate Justice at the U.S. Supreme Court. Today's ceremony comes as the court prepares to start its new term on Monday. President Obama attended a private swearing-in ceremony for Kagan at the court earlier in the day. In August, the 50-year-old became the third woman on the current court and just its fourth woman ever. And a ceremonial first pitch that you really just have to see to believe. Check it out. It's the first pitch at last night's Texas Rangers game in Arlington. Tom Willis selected to make the throw. One catch, though. Tom has no hands and no arms. That's no problem for Tom, though. He throws it with his right foot. And you saw the throw right there. He's really not all that bad either. He gets it to home plate with plenty of room to spare, just a little bit high. Tom says that he wants to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at every ballpark in the country. And I think he certainly is off to a good start with that. Great job by him. Still to come, a pair of web gems for Schenectady's Casper Wells. Check those out next. Plus, week 5 of the high school football season. Stay with us here. Doug Sherman has it all coming up next in sports.
CBS 6 Sports with Doug Sherman.
Welcome back, everybody. We begin week 5 of the high school football season with a terrific Class AA showdown between Christian Brothers Academy and Shenendehowa. The 3-1 brothers trying to hand the unbeaten Plainsmen their first loss of the year. Third quarter, the brothers down a touchdown, but Carter Sherman, no relation, as CBA on the move, shaking tacklers, finally dragged down inside the 30. Later on in the drive, senior Trey Williams finds a seam to the end zone. CBA ties the game at 14. Late in the fourth quarter, the brothers get the ball back, but promptly give it away. Kevin Holbert comes up with the interception, and from there, the Plainsmen turn the game over to Bronson Green. The senior running back tramples over players on his way to the goal line, and with under a minute to play in the game, Green lands in the end zone, 2014 Shen, but one final chance for CBA. Casey Crotty's Hail Mary nearly caught as time expires. Still undefeated, the Plainsmen survive after sweating out CBA on the game's final play.
I was really scared on the last play. I was backing up and I saw the ball coming up and I just knew I was going to try and intercept it, but I knew it was just going to be easier to go for the swat, and to be able to get that is just the greatest feeling in the world.
Seeing the ball in the air, that last throw, who knows what could happen. This win should give us a lot of satisfaction, a lot of momentum, a chance to build upon that and finish as strong as we possibly can.
Through September, Troy was clearly Section 2's dominant team, but tonight's trip to Saratoga didn't start off well. Shatique Lewis suffered an ankle injury in the first quarter and didn't return. Meanwhile, Troy's defense surrendered its first points of the year. Luke Fowler to Brian Owen. The Toga party was on. After Troy answered with a touchdown of its own, Saratoga retook the lead in the second quarter. Fowler hooks up with Brandon Bogardus. Saratoga up 12-7 at halftime. But the Flying Horses regrouped and came out flying. Stefan Grenage, 68 yards to begin the second half, pulling Troy back within a point, and then Jordan Canzeri, Troy's other Flying Horse, took over the game. 263 yards rushing and 3 TDs. Troy rallies to remain unbeaten despite being tested by Saratoga.
They got confidence, you know, and that was just the opposite of how we played for 4 games. So, like I said, you know, give them credit, but we did make adjustments, and the kids responded, so we're proud of the way they played in the second half.
Now, prior to that game, 11 Saratoga Springs graduates were inducted into the Blue Streak Athletic Hall of Fame today. Clayton Chubb, Richard Gibney, Victor Hazard, Kalen Ross Neverett, John Traver, Len Tyler, Deshia Williams, Dottie Pepper, Anthony Weaver, Blaise Giuliano, and Sherry Goddard-Kana.
It's very exciting. I always enjoy coming home, and what a great event. I'm really happy to be honored and inducted into the Hall of Fame, and especially into the first class.
It isn't so much the victories, it's the kids, the coaches, the people that have gone through, and every time I come back here, it's like coming home, and I feel real good about the place.
All right, back to football. LaSalle paying a visit to Latham tonight, where the undefeated Shaker Blue Bison are ready for action. The Cadets winless at home, but perfect on the road this season. First half, LaSalle's Garrett Delory finds Kevin Koberger. First down, Cadets, but the drive would stall deep in Shaker territory. Meanwhile, the Blue Bison, no trouble moving the chains. Shaker scored a season-high 40 points tonight, runs its record to a flawless 5-0. What a wild game tonight between 3-1 Ballston Spa and 2-2 Guilderland. A fumble recovered by Ryan Faneuil would give Guilderland the ball deep in Ballston Spa territory, and the Scotties take advantage. First play, a touchdown pass to Dom Litz. Guilderland up 3, not done yet. Spartans moving down the field, and with less than a minute remaining, Tyler Crastons with the touchdown. After a crazy fourth quarter, the Scotties survive 35-31. In a matchup of teams with identical 2-2 records, the Silver Warriors of Niskayuna visiting the Colony Garnet Raiders. Niskayuna tailback Rob Hillway powered the Silver Warriors offense. The senior rushed for 108 yards and 2 scores. In shutout fashion, Niskay runs its record to 3-2. At Bleecker Stadium, Bethlehem at Albany, and the visiting Eagles put forth an inspired effort against the Falcons. Bethlehem led 36-0 by the end of the third quarter and just kept Albany at arm's length throughout the fourth. Bethlehem shuts out Albany 36-0. Schenectady and Columbia both hope to turn the calendar to October with better results. From the beginning, each team looking for win number 1 on the year. Fourth quarter, John Stanley and the Devils down 3, driving. He hits Christopher Williams, who gets out of bounds at the 7-yard line. But then with time winding down, Stanley throws again towards the end zone. It'll get deflected, and watch the fingertip catch by Josiah Marshall, the Patriots' 3rd interception of the night. A game saver. Schenectady hangs on for its first win of the season. Tonight's Class A game between Glens Falls and Burnt Hills was postponed until tomorrow afternoon due to the wet field conditions at BHBL. No problems tonight in Amsterdam on the synthetic surface. Mike Flowers and the Rugged Rams hosting Tom Shevlin and the Queensbury Spartans. Midway through the third quarter, Flowers runs into the end zone, making the score 13-9 Rams, but they would miss the extra point. A few minutes later, Amsterdam takes a 19-9 lead with this grab. Amsterdam would go on and block a field goal attempt with 1 minute to go, and that's the difference. They remain undefeated. Tyler Dunworth and the Averill Park Warriors hosting Anthony Fogarty and the Lansingburg Knights with first place in the Southeast Division on the line. First quarter, Lansingburg attacks first with this 20-yard touchdown run. 7-0 Lansingburg. Averill Park would look to answer. Senior Ryan Macri hands off to Tyler Dunworth, but he can't hang on to the football. Lansingburg recovers the ball, and from there, senior Carlos Grillo takes advantage. Nice pass to Fogarty, turns it into 6 points. Caught a touchdown pass, he ran for another. Lansingburg beats Averill Park 36-34. In memory of last year's team captain Paul Lasher Bosley, who died in a car accident last summer, the Scotia Glenville Tartans hosted Mahonison tonight, and boy, did the home team come to play. Matt Ranko, great moves on his way to a 27-yard touchdown. Then Scotia's defense came up big, and it's G.T. Salamone scooping up the fumble, and he is gone. Certainly a praiseworthy effort for the senior defensive back. Salamone 65 yards to pay dirt. And then we go back to Ranko. He'll cap off a dominant first half and dominant game with emotions running high. Scotia Glenville picks up its first win of the year. Tonight's other Class A game saw Gloversville beat South Glens Falls 21-13. Class B, Ravenna Queeman Selkirk won a nail-biter from Hudson. Shelmont blanked Cobleskill Richmondville, and Broadalbin Perth won a shootout over Johnstown 32-25. Well, the game of the night in Class C was clearly down in Chatham, where the Panthers hosted Watervliet. Sole possession of first place in the South Division would rest with the victor. The Chatham coaching staff does a terrific job of getting the football into the hands of Josh Keyes in a variety of ways. Off the toss sweep, that's a 15-yard touchdown run. Later in the first quarter, quarterback Tanner Niles hits Keyes out of the backfield, and the Chatham horse does the rest. Very quickly, the Cannoneers were in trouble. Keyes finished the night with 244 yards rushing and 4 TDs. By impressive shutout, Chatham runs its record to 5-0. On paper, tonight's Class D showdown between Cambridge and Rensselaer had all the makings of a classic. Met best in the Indians, 3-0. Same story for Cole Alexanian. And the Rams, also a perfect 3-0. Third quarter, Cambridge QB Billy Pine looking to the end zone and finding junior Will Bremerski for the score. Pine threw for 176 yards and 3 TDs, 23-0 Cambridge. Then in the fourth, Cambridge would pad its lead. Pine hooks up with Skylar Saunders, 6 more for the Indians. The Rams are perfect in the standings no more. Cambridge shuts out Rensselaer on the road, 30-0. Tonight's Yankees-Red Sox game rained out. They'll play 2 tomorrow. Still, the Yanks have taken a half-game lead in the division because Tampa lost to Kansas City tonight, 7-0. Now, despite growing up in Schenectady, Casper Wells actually views his return to Baltimore as more of a homecoming than when he and the Tigers visit New York. You see, Wells played his college ball just 8 miles north of Camden Yards at Towson University. He looked very much at home tonight. But as his college buddies in the stands will tell you, Casper's more than just a good glove in the outfield. His arm is even better. Watch this. 2 web gems in the ball game. At the plate, he goes 0 for 4. Detroit loses the game 2-1. And finally, the Albany Devils visiting the Adirondack Phantoms for a preseason tilt at the Civic Center. Scoreless into the third period, and the Phantoms would take the lead. However, the Devils rallied to win the game in overtime. The AHL regular season begins next weekend. That's it for now. Dori, back to you.
All right, busy night. Thank you very much, Doug. And thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you here on Monday. Good night.